Good morning and welcome to the NuSpecian live Q&A. I am Jillian.
And I'm Aston. Good morning.
All right, for those of you who are new, NuSpecies is a natural health company. We invent and manufacture our own line of plant-based supplements, herbal medicine, liquid vitamins, liquid minerals, herbal formulas, the stuff, whatever you want to call it. And we've been doing this for over 16 years. We're coming up on 17 years soon over the summer. And all of our formulas are designed to help your body be as resilient as possible against the toughest of health challenges. And each of us is on our own unique health journey. And what is a good health choice for one person may not be a good health choice for someone else. So that's why we host this Q&A every Saturday at 10 a.m. to give you answers to your questions that will help you continue along your own unique health journey. So thank you for being with us here today. We do have people live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if there is chats coming in from one or the other platform, you won't see those. So if you hear us talking to someone or about something that you don't see in your chat, it's just because it's on another platform. The majority of the chatting really does happen on YouTube. So if you want to be more part of the community over there, please just quickly log off and join us on YouTube. Otherwise, my eye over here on Instagram. All right. So we were not live last week. We will not apologize. We took off for that weekend for the holiday, spent some time with our kids, did some hiking and some nature stuff. It was a perfect weekend and it was a great time. We hope you had a wonderful holiday. If you celebrate Passover or Easter or whatever your tradition is, we hope it was really nice and you were able to enjoy it. Aston, are we backed up on topics or announcements or things that we need to talk about until we get some more questions going here in the chat?
Yeah, we're always backed up. I was just wondering if we have any pre-submitted questions. I did see Good Barber appeared a few times in my email or whatever over the last couple of weeks, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't look at that.
They were questions from a client you were actively working with anyway, and so they got addressed in advance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, one of the health tips that we can give while everyone is contemplating if they have questions or if they have comments or if they have anything at all to say, one of the extraordinary discoveries that scientists are looking at now is the absolute proof that the COVID virus, whether it's the 2 or 19, COVID-2 or COVID-19, and the vaccines that have been used, the human biochemistry worldwide has changed dramatically, and it could be long-term. It could be permanent for those people who are having those effects from the COVID-2 or the COVID-19 or the vaccines. There are just a lot more blood diseases. There are a lot more issues with diabetes and especially women's health. I think women's health, based on what the studies have seen, and people are really we really mention studies because we have so many thousands of clients who are coming to us each year that we have a really good anecdotal sample of what's happening out there in the world. And a lot of our clients are from different backgrounds and different walks of life, different cultures. So we're getting a really good variety. So we're seeing a lot of blood cancers or blood diseases, but when it comes to women, a lot more women are having issues with their hormones, whether it's their ovaries or their uterus or their endometrial wall or their thyroid or their breast glands. I would say the breast glands and the ovarian glands are the worst that I've seen, especially when it comes to cancer. So, ladies, please be aware. And then there are men who have prostate issues. And you and I were talking about that, Jill. That I have a handful of men out there, probably, I was talking to Mary about it too, probably 4 or 5, who's they're taking our standard for prostate health, and their PSA is the same or going down just a little bit or going up. And I I have a lot of information that indicate that it could stem from viruses or bacteria infections that may not even be diagnosed. So we have a lot to talk to our clients about, about whether one on one or on this group. And based on what I've just said, if any of you have any questions along those lines, you have conditions that are not going away, you have conditions that it's not in your family history, and there's no one in your family history with some of these diseases, and then you're getting at a younger age, that should be of grave concern. It means that the biochemistry of the genome in the body is changing. It's the genome. When we say biochemistry, we're talking about the genome. The genome is the basis of human life, or life forms. All life forms have genome. Human just a little different from some animals, but the genome is changing. Our biochemistry is changing because of all those things. So, and even if you weren't infected with the COVID, or if you didn't take the vaccine, you could still have exposures. So just want to bring that awareness to all of you and share with your family and friends. And if you have any questions, you can fire away.
All right, we do have one question from Instagram. My hair is falling out due to menopause. I need help.
So we have so there are several things taking place there, just for everyone's awareness. So a lot of women who come to us who are in menopause, they had hormonal issues before they entered menopause, whether they had fibroids, ovarian cysts, they have dense breasts, they have pituitary gland issues. If you who are asking, if you have any of those conditions before you enter menopause, you could let us know. It would help us to decide whether we need to include in what we recommend for you, not just something for hair growth. We have hair growth for women. We don't have it for men, but we have a hair growth protocol for women. We could also include something for hormones if you have had hormonal issues before you enter menopause. And those hormonal issues could be indicated by heavy menstrual, ovarian cysts, fibroids, thyroid nodules. Anemia is a critical one. If you have had any of those or any combination of those, let us know. That will help us to gauge the nature of your hormonal imbalance, whether it was chronic and it went on for years, especially if you were anemic for years, let us know. So we could help you with hair growth, but we need to know what we need to do to help you with hormonal imbalance, because menopause is also hormones. It's just the other extreme of when premenopause, or before you had a lady gets menopause, they had hormonal issues that lead up to that, and then menopause hits, and now it's the hormones are going in the other directions in terms of imbalances. So let us know if you fall into anything I just said, and that will help us to determine putting in the hair growth system we have, the menopause issue system or protocol we have, and then the hormone imbalance that we need to help you with based on all the comments I just made. Let us know.
Okay. And then also, does it change if, menopause can go on for 10 years? So does it change if she's much further into menopause than if it's just starting?
So that's a great question. So if ladies, typically those who come to us and their doctors seem to accept that when you turn 48 or after, or between 48 and 55, you're going to have menopause. If you have been having menopause for several years and it's not getting better, it's the same or getting worse, or you still have menopausal symptoms, you have to be careful now that you could develop osteoarthritis, and you can develop heart disease. You could develop some form of congestive heart disease. those are two of the most significant effects on your bodies, ladies, from having menopause or prolonged menopause. We have ladies who have menopause into their 60s and even 70s, believe it or not. And for those women, they develop even more health conditions that are chronic and life threatening. So if you're having menopause, it's usually indicated by mood changes, or you know, at nights you have sleeplessness, or you have issues with heat, and there are many other symptoms. If you have those issues, you have to try to resolve them, because your body is telling you that it's breaking down. That's what menopause is. The body organs are breaking down, and that's what you're feeling.
I've been listening to a lot of interviews and with women who have going through menopause or in perimenopause, and usually these interviews are along with doctors who specialize in menopause. And the one thing I consistently hear is the women are just, they get to a point where they wake up one morning and they just say to themselves, "I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't feel like myself anymore." And that was like the telltale sign that was like, this is more than just I'm tired or I'm stressed, or, you know, it's a period, this is just a phase. It's like they no longer feel like themselves. And that's those hormonal changes.
Absolutely. So a lot of women would tell me that they feel like they wake up one day, the day before was clear, and now they walk and they live and they work in a cloud. Everything is just a cloud for them.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what their doctors do, their doctors just can't help them. And I wish more of these medical practitioners would just tell these women the truth, that there is no medicine for it. You know, there's no medicine for it. And a lot of women who are prescribed, they develop high blood pressure, they develop all kind of health issues, and now they're taking medication because of menopause that's causing those issues they have. And now their bodies are breaking down even further, because now they're taking these medication that are having chronic side effects, when it's the menopause that's or the hormonal changes that are triggering a lot of these conditions that these ladies are getting. But it's devastating. It's really, for a lot of women, very devastating. So hair loss is one piece of it, and for other women, you know, hair loss, well, of course, you love your hair, but the suffering they're going through is a bigger piece of it, that they're just miserable every day.
Right. And also, you know, in these interviews with these doctors who've chosen to specialize in menopause, they talk about their medical training, and they say that about 15 hours of their entire medical training is focused on women's health outside of fertility. Pretty much all of women's health in the medical field is focused on fertility, on having babies. But the majority of women's lives are spent outside of their fertility period. And very, very, very little is done to train doctors on how to take care of us. So, you know, if you haven't talked to your doctor about it yet, or you're waiting for your doctor to bring up your menopause or your perimenopause, it may not happen. You may have to pursue it aggressively and ask for certain kinds of blood tests and let them know what your symptoms are. Even print out a list of all the symptoms of menopause from some website. There's probably like a whole page full of them, and just like highlight all the ones you're experiencing, and really document your situation. Because when you do see your doctor, they have so little time to spend with you. You want to make it very clear. You're experiencing this, you know what's happening to you, and you're asking them to do all the things that need to be done. Because if you are considering any sort of medical intervention for menopause, some of those interventions are only safe earlier on. So you don't want to wait to talk to your doctor about that.
Right.
And then, of course, you never have to wait to do nutrition or herbs, which is what NuSpecies can help you with right now.
And you hit the nail on the head. So for all you ladies who are having these issues, if you have friends and family who are having these issues, you have to make dietary changes. Your doctors are not going to be able to help you. Your doctors are going through the same issues, and they can't help themselves. So you have to make a lot of really serious, like Jillian was saying, dietary changes, lifestyle changes, which will likely include NuSpecies to help you to balance your hormones. So the lifestyle changes, the dietary changes, are certain foods that you need to avoid, because a lot of those foods could have hormones in them, like certain meat products. I'm not going to call names so we get sued, but there's certain foods that are grown with hormones, whether it's steroids or growth hormones or other form of pharmaceuticals, and those will make the changes you're going through in your body way worse. So you may have to. We can give you our dietary guide. We don't charge for it. We can give it to you to start making certain dietary and lifestyle changes. And it's just a guide. It's not something we need to meet with you. And we're just going to give you a list of things to avoid and things that you should include in your diet. And then that will include what we would recommend for to help you to balance your hormones, which is our Queen Annie, our fiery focus. And then we also, depending on like this question we just got about menopause, we may have to put you on something else, like for hair growth. She's saying that she's having hair loss, or hair is falling out. So we have a hair growth protocol that I think is helping all the women. I don't recall, I'm not recalling now, but don't hold me to it, any woman who's taking it and taking it for long enough who didn't see hair growth, unless their scalp. Well, there are a few ladies who have taken it, but their alopecia had gotten so bad, they had massive scarring on their scalp, and the scarring sealed up the hair follicles. And yeah, and it can get really bad. It's just start getting sores, and we were not able to help one or two of these particular ladies who had this chronic alopecia where sores develop on their scalp, and the sores just blended in and seal up the hair follicles, so the hair couldn't grow in certain spots on their scalp. Those are the only ones I can think of, and Mary's, I'm sure, listening. Mary, we want to do full disclosure, so if you have talked to clients who have taken the hair growth and didn't see any changes for better, you can let me know, and we'll share it with our NuSpecies family here. We're for full disclosure, good, bad, and ugly. We're going to tell you the truth. But the good news is that we always have options to help each of you, whether it's high blood pressure, or diabetes, or cancer, or hormonal issues, or prostate issues. We have options. We always have options. Sometimes we have to divert from our standard practice because, as I mentioned before, the human biochemistry worldwide is changing rapidly. And that is the confusion you're seeing with our government here in the United States with the FDA, is the recognition that something is wrong with the medical system, something is wrong with medication. So if you're seeing panic over there in Washington, D.C., it's because of all these scientific studies and information that's coming out, and our leaders don't know what to do with it.
All right, we have some more questions. I want to quickly just say good morning to Wayne Headley. Hi, Darnett. Hello, Maxine. Good morning, Sharice. Hey, Trevor. And then we've got some questions from Diane. Good morning, Diane. Thank you for your questions. All right, so Diane is saying, what are the health benefits of NuGenesis? I'm on my 4th bottle, but I can't really tell.
So the NuGenesis formula is to help the body to rebuild the DNA and the genes. So the DNA and genes are what form our genome. The genome is the biochemical strands that form human life, all life forms, but in this case, human life. So the NuGenesis is to assist the body to rebuild the genes and DNA. It's when the genome gets hit by chemicals. Chemicals could be viruses or bacteria or parasites, or just regular chemicals, free radicals that are out there in our bodies. Our genome get hit, and it alters the biochemistry of the genome, and that's what leads to the diseases we get. That's what leads to premature aging. That's what leads to all health issues or result from our genome not functioning the way it should. So the NuGenesis is to assist the body to rebuild the DNA and the genes. And yes, Some people would take a bottle and they see changes for the better within, they feel better and they see changes in, for a month or two or three. And others, it may take longer. It all depends on how damaged our genome is, and which include the genes and DNA, as I mentioned, and all the associated proteins, histone, chromatin. Those are all proteins. The polymers are telomeres, all of those get damaged when the genome is damaged. So it all depends on how long the body takes to regenerate the biochemistry, regenerate cells, regenerate tissue, restore cells. Everybody's body is different. And if you have associated conditions like blood pressure, diabetes, you're taking medication, those will impact any kind of recovery we're trying to do to help you to rebuild your body to get back to normal life. All of those will impact your recovery period from taking NuSpecies and doing dietary changes as well.
Now, I wonder, Diane, if you want to, she follows up about having a full hysterectomy and what supplements she should be on, but not to get too far off of NuGenesis yet. Diane, I do wonder, I know you've been on our products for a while. I'm pretty sure I recognize your name, unless you have the same name as somebody else. And so, if you've been on our products for a long time and your body's been in a pretty stable place, it's possible there isn't like a huge difference to see on a daily basis. I know we do a lot of free tastes of our formulas in the stores, and a lot of people will come in together and we'll give two people. Losing my shouldn't wear headphones when my hair is down. And we'll give two people a taste, especially of NuGenesis, and almost always everyone is like, "Whoa, I'm feeling it! Oh my gosh, I can feel this in my body." I was shocked when one time I was in Bronxville and I gave a taste to two women, and one woman was like, "Whoa, I can feel this! Wow!" And she wanted to buy it. The other woman was like, "I don't feel anything." But she also said that she suffers with a lot of pain, and she takes a lot of, is it beta blockers? Is that what you take when you're in a lot of pain? Maybe it wasn't beta blocker. She said some kind of medication you take for a lot of pain. And she's like, so maybe I just can't feel anything. But that just goes to say that it does depend on what's happening in your body and what you feel. I know for myself, just being generally healthy, I don't necessarily feel a difference on a daily basis when I'm taking NuSpecies consistently. If I stop taking it for a few days, then I realize that I don't feel as good as I was feeling. Or if I start to feel like I'm getting a cold or something and I take it and I notice that cold goes away immediately, then I'm like, oh, okay, it's working, right? So there's just many different examples of what you're looking for when you are wondering if the formulas are doing anything.
So let's speak generally, in addition to what you just said, just for a couple of minutes, because this is a very valid point, that Diane has made and that you're making. So you all should always keep in mind that the basis of our lives, the basis is our genome. Our genome is our genes. The DNA is what makes genes. That's the basis of all life forms. Is the genome of that living creature, whether it's a plant or animal. So if someone has an organ that is damaged, whether it's the heart or the lung or the kidney or the brain, those genes are damaged. And to some extent, those genes may even become dysfunctional. They're not going to produce any healthy proteins. The proteins are what genes make proteins, and our body convert all these different proteins to support the cells and the tissues and the organs. That's just basically how the body works. So if anyone has a health condition or a disease condition, they have genes that are damaged. And if you have an organ that you remove, those genes are gone because the organs are gone with the genes. So that part of the body is no longer functional. So whether it's it's a part of the liver, part of the lung, or an ovary, or uterus, or breast glands, or thyroid. Just think about all the organs that can get removed because of health issues. The body is never going to function the same because the organ is removed. And even if the organ is not removed, if the genes are damaged enough, that organ is not functioning the way it should. And then if you're taking medication on top of that, just stop for a second right now, and Google your medication. Google the pharmaceutical companies that made the medication, or Google the FDA. The FDA has all the medication listed on its site and the side effects. Just look at the side effects of what you're getting from the medication you're taking, and you'll see the additional damage that's been done to other organs. So if you're having dizziness, the medication is damaging your brain. If you're having stomach issues, digestive issues, the medication is damaging your stomach, damaging your liver, damaging your thyroid. These are digestive organs, damaging your pancreas. That's why you're having digestive issues. And you can just get a pen and just draw it out. You're having hearing issues. Oh, the medication is causing side effects with my ears, with my eyes, with whatever organs. The genes are being damaged by those medication. So when you come to us, we know that. And that's why we recommend what we recommend for you. And yes, there are people who see changes very quickly. And then there are other people who take longer because their bodies are going through a lot. And you're not going to start to get better if those genes don't start functioning and producing at least more healthy proteins. Proteins, which are, some of them are amino acids. Never going to happen, people. No magic, no miracle. So 10,000 feet from the ground, I've just given you the biochemistry of life forms, whether it's plants you're looking at outside or in your home, or other animals you're looking at, or ourselves, humans. It's the same thing. When our genes get damaged, our bodies start to age prematurely and become dysfunctional for that organ. And then if we don't fix that organ, it's going to spread to other organs because other organs are going to become implicated. And if you're taking medication, you must be taking something for the side effects of the medication. You have to, because sometimes the damage caused by the medication can be worse than the issue you're trying to use the medication to help your body with. So please be aware of this and have these conversations with your doctors. You have to have those conversations with your doctors. Okay?
All right. Diane also asks, I had a full hysterectomy. What supplements should I be on daily?
So you need to be on, at minimum, the Queen Annie. Whether you do half a bottle, you could do half a bottle every other day, even a bottle a week, if that's, what's in the budget for all of you. And I'm speaking to all of you. I'm not just speaking to Diane. I'm speaking to all of you who have removed an organ and your body needs to compensate. In this case, Diane, your adrenal glands need to help to kick in. They're above the kidneys and start to help you to produce that minimum amount of estrogen that you now have lost because your ovaries are gone. You still need some estrogen because estrogen is tied to a woman's lifeline. Is the most important hormone for a woman's lifeline. It helps a woman to have the muscles that she needs, not just for her arms and her legs, but for her heart. You need a strong heart so you can live longer. You need a strong brain so you can live longer. So when we start removing organs, as we should, because if the organs are life-threatening, then you have to find other ways to compensate. So at minimum, you're going to need the Queen Annie, you're going to need the vitamin D, and you're going to need the mineral complex. And maybe they're one of the things that we can include in another. We're making some changes over here with our I'm going to use this crazy word now, Jillian, our pharmacopoeia. We're going to be adding some things to it. But there are other things that we're going to be adding over the next weeks to come to help you more. But those are the three or so basic that you should be on.
So you said Queen Annie, vitamin D.
Queen Annie, vitamin D, the mineral complex to help the body to compensate for the loss of this organ or organs. And by the way, when you ladies, and it goes for men and all humans, when you remove an organ, each organ, like the ovary, has thousands of other organs in there that are performing other functions. So it's not just the ovary removing. There are a lot of other organs in there that have been removed. So you have to do a lot of compensating, allow the bodies to start leaning on other organs, in this case the adrenal glands, to help with certain hormonal regularity, because you don't know want your adrenal glands to start producing a lot of steroids and cortisol, which are stress hormones, and those will depress the immune system, and then you get cancer, then you get other chronic diseases, because the body now has too much steroids or cortisol or the other stress hormones that naturally shut the immune system down. And you know what happens when the immune system is shut down? AWBC becomes low. Now the body can get attacked by not just viruses, bacteria, parasites, but cancer. Cancer cells will spread more rapidly. So you see the chain reaction, people. So that's what we're trying to show you, how the body works and what you have to do at home with good diet, good lifestyle. And if you want to use NuSpecies to help you, we can help you to support your body so you can live better and live longer.
Diane was just saying she is on Fiery Focus, but not on Queen Annie. Is that okay?
That's fine. Fire Focus is fine.
Okay. Does it have any benefit for her to rotate, unless the Fiery Focus is really specific for some other issue she has, and then she shouldn't rotate?
So we normally put someone in the Fire Focus instead of Queen Nanny, even though they both, could function well. I can't divulge Diane's issues. I just looked at her chart, but
okay, so you're aware.
She needs to be in the Fire Focus because it's performing another function that I need. So Diane, you're taking the Fire Focus, you're getting 2 for 1 there. I can't mention the other issue that we're working on with you. Why you need Fire Focus. Yeah.
Makes sense. Great. All right. Quick good morning to Tina Stevens and Glennis. Hi, Avad. All right. And hi, Susan. July. Thank you for being here, all of you. All right. Next question comes from our Tina Stevens. I have a question about the detox pill or capsule. I'm a kidney transplant patient of 11 years. I'm going to put this up. I don't know if it's going to fit. I think it gets, it fits. Okay. And so I'm a kidney transplant patient of 11 years, and my doctor says not to take the detox capsule because it will mess with my transplant pills. Aston, I don't know if you remember me. I took your products when I was on dialysis, and I was off that machine for 1 week.
I think you should listen to your doctor when it comes to transplant situation. It's 11 years now, but I think you should listen to your doctor. So let's make one thing clear, and you and I can talk offline. We are never going to go against your doctors. We will never do that. Okay. We just will never do that, because your doctors know more about you and your health than we can ever do. Right. They did all these blood tests over years. They did all the imaging over years. They have you on medication over the years. They know so much more about you. Even if you bring us all your labs, we can never presume to know as much as your doctors do. And that's why we implore you, we beseech you to bring us your labs, bring us your imaging, bring us whatever reports, verbal or otherwise, that you get from your doctors. Bring it to us, share it with us, and that's how we can help you the best. But we can never, and we will never go against your doctors. What we can do is say to you, if we believe that you're not being advised with your health medically the way we have seen other people got advised by other doctors successfully in the past, we may suggest to you that you get a second opinion or a third opinion, if that's, but we never will, and we never can. And anyone who does, even if it's another doctor, you should really think hard before you go against your doctor who has known you for years and has been taking care of you for years. They know so much about you, so much about your medical history. History matters. You should never give that out for anyone. Okay. And that goes for you as well. Listen to your doctor. If your doctor look at our detox and believe that you shouldn't be taking it, don't take it. Any formula we have, if your doctor look at the label, because what we have on the label is true, is what the FDA has approved. What we have on all our labels is true, it's fact, and it's what the FDA has approved. And if your doctor looks at it and say, don't take it, I think you should not.
Yeah, I would be curious if the doctor did look at the ingredients at all. And if you're on other NuSpecies formulas and your doctor specifically just said, don't take this one. So I would ask your doctor for more detail, like what exactly does the doctor think is wrong? Because some doctors will just blanket say, don't take anything herbal, because there are a lot of products out there that really aren't any good and could potentially be problematic with medication. We've never had that issue, but there's always a first, right? So we're curious to learn from any situation that you bring to us. So I would love to know, just looking at the comments, see, okay, I will do that. Yeah. So if find out like what exactly is it your doctor is saying, because when we learn from you, we can then provide that information for a future client who maybe is asking the same question.
And to Jill's point, you heard her comments at the top of every show that we actually manufacture our own formulas. So if there's an ingredient in our formula or ingredients that your doctors are objecting to, we can custom make, we can custom something for you if you're willing to pay for it. To avoid those ingredients if we need to, and it would be just something just for you though. I've had hundreds of kidney transplant and liver transplant clients over the years, and I don't remember if I've ever heard any of them saying that their doctors are telling them not to take NuSpecies. It's usually the reverse. I hear the doctors encourage them to take NuSpecies to build up their bodies. But don't hold me to it. But I don't recall anyone in these situations who were told not to take NuSpecies, because now that you have done a transplant, your biochemistry is sort of in a whole nother place and the body needs to become adjusted to it. But it's 11 years, and if it's 11 years you did transplant, that's great. Congratulations, that's wonderful. That's really great, and we would love to assist you in any way we can. But I think we should talk offline, because we will not go against what your doctors say. Even if we know better, we still won't go against your doctor. It wouldn't be.
But we'd love to learn more. If your doctor has a specific reason, we'd love to know what they think.
And we will even speak with your doctor if you want us to. If you want us to, we can, you can set up a meeting. We can call him, and he or she can call us, or set up a meeting and have a discussion. Because ultimately, you're on this call and you're asking these questions because you want to help. You want to live better. You want to live longer, and that's what we're all about. We want to help you live better and live longer. All of you.
Yeah. And the last thing I would say about it is I wouldn't take it lightly, only because our detox powder that you can take in a powder or a veggie capsule is really, really healthful. It has so much fiber and chlorophyll in it that is excellent for your gut microbiome. And I don't know of another product that is really comparable. And the only other option is to significantly change your lifestyle and just be eating a ton of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, which is really hard to do, to change your lifestyle, eat differently, start cooking these foods, not eating processed foods, right? This is the only way to start to heal your gut, to help your body really naturally move the bowels in an excellent way. And just so much of us with our modern lifestyles, so many of us really do rely on that extra boost you get from the detox powder. And our digestive health would probably severely decline if we stopped using it. So unless you can just make this massive change to your diet, I would fight for your ability to take the detox. If your doctor can't give you an actual reason why, and then get a second opinion, because obviously as long as the only doctor you have is saying no, you got to listen to them.
Right. And, full disclosure here, we're not aware, I'm not aware of any formula we have or any ingredient we have that will negatively interact with any medication or counter any medication. We're not aware of any, because we work very closely with the FDA. And I know some of you have told me don't mention the FDA, but we still believe the FDA plays a significant role in protecting us, maybe can do more, but we work very closely with the FDA, and when they tell us that there's an ingredient or a plant or herb or whatever that have any kind of negative effects in the human body, we remove it, instantly remove it. So having said everything we just said, we're not aware of any ingredient, any herb in our formulas, any formula we have that will negatively affect any health issue, transplants or otherwise. We're not aware of any. And we've been doing this for over 17 years. And for me, it's over 20 years. And I've never had a situation like that. I've never had a doctor who called me in panic and say, Aston, NuSpecies, what's going on here? Never had it. In fact, all the major hospitals around the United States, I can say, have referred their patients to us. Top hospitals in the country have referred their clients to us. So I'm not saying there isn't a case, but we have never heard of a case, and we've never been informed of a case. All right.
All right. So Cherise says, I didn't know NuSpecies carried hair food supplies. So I will clarify a little bit here, because I know in the supplement industry, it does often reflect the medical industry, which is that for every symptom or every ailment, there's like a different thing you need to do or take. NuSpecies goes against that a bit because we prefer to focus on the root cause of the problem. And when it comes to hair loss or hair thinning, there's chemistry happening in the body that is causing that problem. So, you know, your hair, your skin, your nails depend on the production by your body of a lot of proteins. And so there's usually like nutritional deficiencies, or the body's just not functioning optimally. And so it's going to start to triage and not deal with the things that aren't as life-threatening. So you will find our skin, our hair, and our nails will start to degrade when we are not giving our bodies enough nutrients. So for a lot of women, and men too, but women are obviously the ones who are most concerned about these things. When they come to us with hair thinning, usually like a lot of the main products that you may already be on, Cherise, do support significant hair growth. And it's even women who didn't intend to have hair growth, they didn't think it was possible, but they were using our products for other reasons, notice their hair start to grow back in, grow faster, grow thicker, and they'll send us before and after pictures, which is amazing. So it's not necessarily that there's like a specific formula called hair food, which I love. But a lot of the formulas we already make for many other things just happen to also have that great side effect. So yes, we do have like a hair package. It might overlap with some of the formulas you're already taking, but we could certainly check in if you want a more focused plan for hair growth to see if there's anything else you could use. Okay. All right. And then, all right, so we got to that question, just tracking everything here, folks. All right, let me check Instagram. No further questions there. All right. Yeah, Cherie says, oh, please, Dema de worse. Sorry, my papa is terrible. Yeah, that's the FDA. I know it's tough. And with, you know, every administration changing, then things can change with the FDA. And we understand that there are a lot of downsides, but regulating and governing all of the pharmaceuticals and all of the supplement industry is a big task. And again, a lot of it is focused on safety. And so where we have seen the way that the agents we have worked with regulate us, we see where their intent is truly to make sure that products that get on the market are safe. What frustrates us is they don't care whether the products are effective, which is not their job, right? It's our job to make our products effective. And so we've gone through a whole lot of work with our FDA agents to ensure that we can keep doing our cold processing, because that's what makes our products work when most companies implement things called kill steps, which are other ways of meeting regulatory requirements that actually just kill all the nutrients in the products they're trying to sell, which we don't do. And the FDA really worked with us on that for years. We do really appreciate them for that, for letting us prove our methods and keep our methods. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to make such effective products. So I understand there are downsides and there are things we might disagree with, but in working with the FDA over all of these years, you know, up to 20 years for us, all the years prior to us actually launching NuSpecies, I should say Aston, really, before then. And all the years of experience our manufacturing team had before we actually partnered. There's, our experience has been overwhelmingly good and trustworthy with what the FDA was trying to do. Now that could change into the future. Things are a bit different right now than they've been in the past, so we don't know what that will mean in the future, but we've had positive experiences.
So for those of you who don't like the FDA too much, we should tell you that they help us to make better, safer products. So, and they have left us alone all these years. So, and they know what we're doing. They come into our manufacturing, they come into our locations yearly, sometimes a few times yearly, to look at what we're doing. So they do police. And all we can say is that we're hoping they're policing everybody else.
The same way, right?
The same way. Because one of their policing caused us to, have to spend over $1 million to do changes to what we do. And I hope they're doing the same thing with other companies that are out there.
Yeah. All right. Cherie said I did great. That I'm her Jamaican friend, and I said I'm an honorary Jamaican. I do my best not to butcher the patois. Okay, Diane says, what are your thoughts on spelt flour? So any kind of flour is typically going to be processed. And so I would always recommend reducing the amount of any sort of processed food that you do consume. Assuming that the spelt flour is like pure spelt and there's nothing else in there. And again, you're using it in moderation. It's probably better than, a processed wheat flour. So, I think it's a good swap if you like it. And again, it's a processed food still, so in moderation. Yeah, so I don't think anything. I don't know. I talk to my children about this, and I do try to always let people know how we tend to think about things. So when it comes to food and making food choices, you can really go down a rabbit hole of this kind of rice or that kind of rice, this kind of flour or that kind of flour, this color cabbage or that color. I mean, it can get really crazy. Ultimately, I try to dredge people up from the weeds and let them look at the bigger picture. Okay. A food that is healthy for you, in my opinion, and you could totally reject this if you want, but a food that is healthy for you is a food that when consumed makes your body stronger. A food that is not healthy for you is when consumed is toxic to your body, weakens your body. And then there's a lot of foods in between that probably won't hurt you, but they're not making you healthier. They're sort of neutral. And then, just keep those in moderation, I would say, and don't fuss too much about them. What I would say focus more on is if you're eating processed foods or baked items in moderation, unless you have a gluten allergy, if it's spelt flour or white flour, I don't know. If you're exercising and you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and nuts and seeds, and you're taking care of yourself in general, is an occasional white flour product going to hurt you? Maybe not. Everyone's tolerance is different. So you really need to know your own body. I know in my family, we're very gluten sensitive. I don't have any sort of diagnosis in that way, but if I eat too much processed flour, I will start getting headaches. And I know myself that way. So I think it's something you need to decide, but I would focus more on am I eating enough plant-based foods and just keeping everything else in moderation? If you started to eat, make it part of your everyday diet, something with flour in it, yeah, it's probably better that it's spelt flour than a processed white flour. But I don't think that's necessarily contributing to your health in the end. So I hope that makes sense. If you want to ask another question about that, I'm happy to keep going. I don't know, Aston, do you have any opinion about that?
I have an opinion about food.
Okay. Go.
And that's, this is what I've been telling you all for years. Oh boy, for many years. Over 20 years, I've been telling you the same thing, and we'll say it again. If you live in the cities and you have to go shop at a supermarket, You walk into the supermarket and you see the fruits and the vegetables, the real stuff, fruits and vegetables and nuts and grains. Those are food. Once you walk out of that aisle or that section, and now you're where plastic bags are, you're where cans are, you're now in the high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, disease aisles. That's where you are. You're now in disease because all of those cans and bottles and plastic bags, they have preservative chemicals. So even if they have food in them, or so-called food, they have preservatives. And those preservatives are there to kill fungus, virus, bacteria, parasites. That's why those preservatives are in them. Those chemicals, whether it's sodium or other type of chemicals that are in them, that's why they're there, is to kill them. And if it can kill virus, it can kill you or kill us. If it can kill virus and bacteria, it can kill us. If it can kill parasite and fungus, it can kill us. That's all I can tell you. Once you leave that section at the market and you're in bottles, cans, and plastic bags, you are now in disease aisles. And yes, they taste good, they taste flavorful, but we will pay a price if we eat them. It's as simple as that. Believe me, people, it is as simple as that. There's no magic and there's no miracle.
So if you're going
and Jill just mentioned the manufacturing process we use to make NuSpecies and bottle NuSpecies. If you have a NuSpecies bottle, pick it up and look at it. The vegetable glycerin you see in there is from a natural source. Everything we have in our bottle is from a natural source. We don't have any sodium preservatives or alcohol preservatives or chemical preservatives. We don't have any of those in any of our formulas, and that's one of the reasons why they cost a little more than what you see in the market. Yes, you could buy a vitamin D for $5 or $10. Ours is $40, or it's going to go up a little bit, perhaps. But that's my philosophy on food. And if you ask me this question 100 years from now, God permit me to be around 100 years from now, it's going to be probably the same answer.
So with that, then I think you know where Austin falls on this. What about yam, banana, dashin, cassava?
Those are the best.
Pumpkin. Those are the best.
Those are the best. Those of you who come from places in the world and you come to the United States or Canada or Great Britain. I can't even say Europe because a lot of Europeans eat better than we eat in America, especially the Italians and the French. They eat way better. The British, the Irish, the Scots, they eat way better than we eat here in the United States. So I can't even bash the Europeans anymore. But a lot of us come to this country and we're told that you shouldn't eat food that have starch. You shouldn't eat potatoes. You shouldn't eat yams. You shouldn't eat dashin.
We're actually made to be afraid of real
food. You know where I live? I live upstate New York, where there are a lot of white folks. And when I go to the markets here, I see dashin, potatoes, yams. Guess who's buying them? It's white folks that are eating them. So the whole point here is that a lot of us are brainwashed not to eat our good foods so we can buy the foods in plastic bags and cans and bottles. To me, that's the only answer to why so many of you are brainwashed not to eat your yam and potatoes. So even if you have diabetes or blood pressure or high cholesterol, eat your foods and exercise. You have to go walk and burn it off. So yes, it's starchy. It's going to produce a little bit more glucose, but you go walk or exercise to burn the glucose. That's how our bodies are designed. Our bodies are designed to burn energy. Glucose is energy. If you drink water, the body going to produce more glucose. If you drink a green juice, the body going to produce more glucose. Yes, if you eat yam and potatoes, it's going to produce a little bit more glucose. But even if you're just drinking water and doing green juices, you still have to burn the glucose.
But the difference is your body knows how to process that, right? So it has all the fiber that your body needs to feed the gut microbes that then digest those foods. So when the food you eat has fiber, the gut microbes eat that, break it down, and make the nutrients available to your body. It's when you eat foods without fiber, like meat and dairy and processed foods, you don't get that fiber. You're not feeding the healthy gut microbes. You're actually feeding the pathogens in your gut, which leads to all sorts of toxicity and every single health issue you can imagine. So think about when you are feeding your body, you're really feeding those microbes in your gut, the healthy ones that need the fiber to release the nutrients out of the food for you. And that's why you can't go wrong with fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, and whole grains. And what really, and I can get the quote from the book that I keep on me all the time by Dr. Will Bulsiewicz, is that the key to great health and eating healthy is a huge diversity. So yeah, kale could be a superfood, but if you just eat kale all day, every day, you still end up with deficiencies over time. The real key is to just eat a very large diversity of plant-based foods on a daily basis. He even has goals where you try to eat at least 30 different plants, 30 to 50 per week. And if you're eating a completely plant-based diet that isn't not being supplemented by processed food, you could actually eat over hundreds of plants. Think of just one salad that could have 10 or 12 different plants in it. So I wouldn't get so hung up on which food as much as like, am I eating a huge diversity of those plant-based foods that's giving my body all those nutrients. And that's why you'll see in a lot of our formulas, we have lots of different herbs that have overlapping properties, but also provide a huge diversity of different properties. And we keep that in mind, that kind of diversity in mind as well when our formulas are designed.
I will say one more thing on foods. One of my grandmother lived to 105. Another lived to, from what I understand, 115. One of my grandfathers lived to 100 until he was in his teens. Another grandfather lived until he was in his 90s. And my adopted grandmother lived until she was 99. And I can tell you, my uncles didn't even live half of those lives, half of each of one of those lives. Some of my uncles and aunts, I can tell you that. So that is your answer. And the other
I met
piece
your
to
adoptive grandmother, and she was living a very good quality of life up until that. She had a massive garden. It was literally her entire yard was a whole garden. It was unbelievable, and she was living an incredible quality of life.
Right. And then the last thing I could say to you: sit down and write down how long your grandparents live. Not even your parents, because a lot of them are not going to live long. Not live as long as they should. And you'll see the potency of foods, real foods, and a lot of those parents and grandparents didn't take a lot of medication either, and that's part of the reason why they lived so long. So you should write it down, and teach it to your children and your grandchildren. The importance of foods, eating real foods, and eat foods and avoid medication as much as you can, and you will live longer. You just need to exercise. Make the time, as Jillian just said, and eat all the diversity of foods, real foods, vegetables, fruits, other foods. Just eat real foods and have a wide variety, diversity, because the wider the diversity is, the more minerals your body is getting. It's the more vitamins the body is getting. So that's why it's the more enzymes or amino acids the body is getting. And that's why you want to have this wide diversity. And if you want a really good example, concrete example, I'm assuming that some of you are taking NuSpecies. Pull out your NuSpecies bottles and look at all the different plants and herbs that we have in each that you're taking. Because if you're taking the protocol from NuSpecies, you're most likely already using over 20 different plants and herbs.
And oh no, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, also there are different kinds of fiber. So fiber is not just like the simple monolith that it's made to seem like when you get Metamucil or something. It's just like there's one kind of fiber and you just need to mix it into some water and drink it. That's not how it works. Fiber is more complex than that. And so the larger diversity of plant-based foods that you eat, the larger diversity of fiber that you consume, and then the larger diversity of healthy gut microbes you allow to live in your gut and support your health. So there's just so many ways that this is important for you. Susan July asked about using the vitamin E on her skin for her face and burns. And so I had said, absolutely, that you actually mix the vitamin E into the L-Nu and put it on your skin every single day.
So, so I have, I am not as perfect as some of you may think. I could drink a gallon, 2 gallons of water daily, and I'm still thirsty, and my skin still dry up. Literally, I can drink a gallon of water, 2 gallons of water, and like I have been doing now over the last a month or so. And my facial skin still dry up, my legs still dry up, my arms still dry up. So for some reason, my body doesn't use water as well as I would want to, but I don't blame God for that. God gave me a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of wisdom to find a way to help to counteract it. And yes, what Jillian just said, I've been using the vitamin E with the L-Nu for years now, and that's how. And I've had this issue since I was a kid, since I was a child. So I've been using them very successfully to have moisture in my skin and have to have better pores. So when I do go for a walk or a run, I would just, sweat profusely because my pores are healthy. So those of you who have that issue, and vitamin E is the most powerful antioxidant on the planet. If you're taking a really natural vitamin E like ours, it is the most powerful and healthy antioxidant on the earth. Vitamin E to protect the skin against viruses and bacteria. I was telling Jill that, before I met her, when I shave, I used to have all these boils on my face, not hair bumps, there were boils. My face was pock-marked with holes from tissue just falling out because of the ingrown hair. And since I started using the L-Nu and the vitamin E, I have not had that issue, which is now probably almost 30 years or so. So it's a testimonial for me, and it's also good for you because it's another really good way for you to be using your vitamin E, is to put it on your skin like a lotion, and it will be a little sticky for at first in the L-Nu, but your body's going to be absorbing it as well into your body, and it's going to be able to help you as an antioxidant.
Yeah, the good news about vitamin E is that it's a vitamin your body can actually store. So if you take too much, your body will store the excess and use it as it needs it. So and it lasts a really long time. I know it seems on the pricier side, but if you divide it by how long you're going to have that bottle, it really does not cost that much. The only annoying thing about the vitamin E is that for some reason it like eventually makes the dropper very sticky, and we haven't resolved that. So if you can deal with the dropper getting a little sticky, then it's no problem at all. I do have to look into maybe changing out the droppers for the vitamin E. Okay. And then to follow up about that, Charisse has a very nice compliment. She said, "No wonder why Austin's skin is so radiant." And then Jillian, your skin is flawless too. What's your secret? So I have no secret. I will say that the lighting and a little bit of makeup goes a long way on camera. So I won't take all the credit. But I do think I have decent skin for overall. I don't have the best diet. I've been working on that in the last few months. So I'd say that my diet probably more or less works against me. I really do think NuSpecies is very, very helpful. And I also don't, I only wear makeup on when we do our Q&A, or if there's like a really big special occasion I go to, which is not often. So I really don't put anything on my skin daily except my skincare. And Aston and I have used Anne Marie Gianni skincare. It's completely non-toxic. It's herbal. It's wonderful. And I mean, it's obviously a little bit expensive because it's completely natural, but we've used it for, I think they started their company when we launched NuSpecies. So we've been using their products for 16 years. I do have their products in our stores. I don't really care to make money off of it. I just like to provide you non-toxic alternatives if you are interested. So if you want to purchase them, I just sell them for cash because again, it's not really an official part of NuSpecies business. But if you want to try Anne Marie Gianni skincare, you can, I think there's some in Bronxville right now, and I can always get you some as well. But I do think that that really is good for our skin by not putting toxins on our skin every single day. The long-term benefits I think are pretty good. And then, okay, Diane, good question. What about the plastic container your formulas are in? So we use the highest quality plastic available. There is no evidence that there is any negatives for using that plastic. It's all food level. There's a better word for that. Plastic that doesn't like leach anything. But we understand plastic is still not ideal. We actually do prefer glass, especially the violet glass that we do also use, because we think it keeps the products even stronger for even longer. So if you do want to switch away from plastic just because you really don't want to be using plastic, you can get our products in glass. We are working toward keeping a supply of most of our formulas in glass. It just costs more, and obviously it's a bit more of an operational situation because glass breaks and everything. But you can get our products in glass if you want. But we don't have any evidence that there is any negative effect of using the kind of plastic that we use on all of our products. And just checking the chat. Okay, Cherise, let me cop a bottle in the week. I'm assuming you mean the vitamin E. Please do. Do you have products? Okay, Aston, you're gonna like this question. Oh, I missed a previous question from the same person. Sorry. Let's go back to the first question. If the kidneys are completely damaged, can the person take NuSpecies products?
So, what does completely mean? If stage 5 is the highest damage kidneys go through, which is stage 5, the doctors pretty much say if your EGFR is below 20 and your creatinine is probably above 2 or 3 or 4, that there's complete kidney failure. Yes, you can take NuSpecies formulas. We have a protocol for kidneys, even with stage 5. The people who are not yet stage 5, we have been able to help probably most, if not all of them, who take what we recommend for them to get back kidney function. Some get some kidney function back, some get their complete kidney function back. But if your creatinine and your EGFR are abnormal, it means that you're headed for kidney failure. And if you don't do something, you will end up with complete kidney failure. And keep in mind that there's no medication the doctors can give you. They will tell you to go home and drink more water. And eventually when the kidneys fail, they say, oh, you should drink less water. So that's the only option the doctors have to help you. And it's just the way it is. Medicine, pharmaceutical medicine for kidneys are just not there yet. But we have been able to help thousands of people with kidney damage or kidney failure. So if it's completely damaged and if you're not on dialysis, then you're even in a better shape to get some help from taking NuSpecies. If you're in dialysis, it's going to be more difficult to get results from taking NuSpecies because you're doing dialysis 2 or 3 times a week. And a lot of what we're giving you will be in the blood and it's going to get filtered out along with the urine and urinary chemicals are trying to filter out through dialysis. But you will still benefit from taking NuSpecies regardless if you have kidney issues.
Yeah, and Charisse reminds us that the gentleman, so we had Reddy Manning on last week, a couple of weeks ago, that he's been on dialysis for 20 years. And he says that the products have really helped him. All right. And then the follow-up question here is, do you have products with L-theanine? So this is one of those, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is one of those questions that goes to like isolating nutrients or trying to reverse engineer how nature works instead of just letting these things naturally be provided by plants or be produced by your body. So how do you explain this, Aston?
So the L-Nu formulas we have, speaking of the L-Nu, is our formulas that helps to rebuild the whole body. If you are not taking the L-Nu, you should be taking it. It does assist the body to rebuild the whole body, all the organs and all the glands. So the formulation in the L-Nu is a formulation that helps the the body to be able to produce all the essential amino acids. So let me say this, there are thousands and thousands of amino acids in foods in our bodies, but only a small number, between 13 and 21, that are tracked scientifically or medically. I believe that, scientific institutions haven't had a need to go beyond the essential amino acids. So the LNU formulas will help to support our bodies with the essential, the 13 to 21 essential amino acids. So as for other amino acids, we too have not looked beyond what we're doing. The LNU may be able to help the body to help the genes to make these type of amino acids. I don't know. I truly don't know. You stumped me with that one. But there are thousands of amino acids. This is how there are thousands of other vitamins. There are thousands of other minerals that we don't track. We just track the essential minerals and vitamins that will help to support our genome, our genes and DNA, and to rebuild our bodies. So I can't speak specifically to that one.
Okay. I will just say that it's best not to try to isolate things that the body either already produces on its own or that plant foods will already give you in their whole food form, whether you're getting them from NuSpecies formulas or you're eating them. That is really the most biologically appropriate way to get all these nutrients or health promoting elements into your body. So anytime you take a nutrient completely isolated, there's always some kind of processing involved. If not, is completely synthetically made in a lab, which your body doesn't know what that is. You're not going to see, like, I don't know, I always use this quote. I don't say the opposite from Romeo and Juliet. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. And in the case of nutrition, just because the nutrient shares the same name doesn't mean that you're actually getting the equal value from it. So like, for example, I heard this funny story from, I don't know, somebody. They said like, if I asked you, do you want to have lunch with George Clooney tomorrow? And you're like, yeah, I would love to meet George Clooney. You're like, great, meet me tomorrow. You show up at lunch and there's your nephew, George Clooney, at the table. And then he's like, oh, hi, like, welcome and meet George Clooney. And you're like, oh, I thought I was meeting George Clooney. So the name was the same, but the person wasn't. And it's the same thing with nutrition, that the way that you get to the end result that you're taking in a product can completely change whether that product is helpful to you, even if the name on the product is exactly the same. So like when you take NuSpecies B vitamins, they've been cold processed. So the vitamins have not been damaged by heat, and they are actually available to your body to nourish your body, versus many other B vitamins have either been completely created in a lab or they've been or have been processed with heat. Therefore, they are damaged and they're not useful to your body. So you could look at the same B vitamin on our label or another label, but you're actually getting something completely different. And I know that is so confusing and that is so frustrating. It's like, how do you then navigate the whole world of the supplements? And this is why we do what we do, because our goal is to make products that actually work, that actually nourish your body. We go through a very long list of practices to create really good products. And yes, it costs more. And yes, it doesn't taste good and all that stuff. But in the end, we're trying to give you real nutrition. And you will try a lot of things. And our hope is that, like, for many people, you see the difference with us. So I wouldn't focus so much on those individual nutrients or amino acids or chemicals. I would say, what am I trying to achieve here? And start with the most appropriate method for your biology.
Mm-hmm. And to underscore your point just a little bit, none of you should be taking amino acids. If you're taking amino acids, just think about what you're doing. You're taking something that our bodies make naturally. Our genes, that's what they make. Our genes make proteins. Our genes make amino acids. You don't want to take a supplement that is labeled protein or amino acids. Only our bodies can make those proteins naturally. They can be made, they can be replicated in the lab. So some of you have told me that you're taking glutathione. It's not glutathione. Glutathione is produced by the liver. and it produces it so rapidly that scientists can't even track it. So you're taking a chemical that is called that, but it's not glutathione. If you're taking any amino acids, any enzymes that our bodies make naturally, it's not real. So, what I'm trying to say to you is that the good diet with the variety of foods, fruits and vegetables, that's how you get your body, you get your genes to be strong enough to produce these amino acids or proteins. That's what you want. You don't want to go there and take these chemicals that are made in labs. And if you find yourself taking an enzyme or an amino acid, Google the side effects, or find a way to discover what the side effects are, and you'll see how destructive it is to your body, because it's a chemical. Chemicals are just naturally destructive to our bodies in general. So you should not be taking any enzymes. You should not be taking any amino acids. You should not be taking any proteins. It's nonsense. Complete. Trust me, nonsense. Get your body to make these enzymes, these proteins, these amino acids by eating right. And yes, there are new formulas we have. That's why we design them the way they are designed, is to allow, when we say it helps to rebuild your whole body, it's helping to rebuild the whole body so your body can produce what it needs to support itself. It supports the biochemistry. It supports the natural laboratory that is our bodies to make what it needs to make to support our genes, our DNA, our cells, our tissue, our organs. So that's what when we say we're helping you to rebuild your body, that's what we're doing. And you can do a lot of it on your own by eating lots of fruits and vegetables and get some exercise in with lots of, with adequate amount of water daily. You can do the same.
All right. I think that wraps up for today. Before you go, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so. We see the numbers ticking up every week, and we really appreciate it. It helps us leverage more of what YouTube offers to make our show better, to make our channel better for you, because we want to provide more value. But it also helps other people who are vetting NuSpecies and trying to get to know us to see that there are many people who support what we do. So please subscribe before you leave. Also, we've made a lot of changes with how we're managing our texting and our email list. We moved over to an even more reputable marketing provider, and they are very, very strict about laws that protect you from spam. So if you are someone who's not regularly opening our emails, the software is going to automatically suppress you from our list, and it's going to stop sending you our communications. So even if you don't have the time to always read our emails, maybe just click on it and open it so that the system knows that you do want to stay on our list. If you are not getting our emails, we sent one this morning. Please check your spam and check your promotions folder, especially if you're on Gmail. A lot of times our emails will go directly to promotions. You just have to click on our email and drag it back to the main or primary inbox. There could be other reasons why you're not getting our emails. So we go over those, but if you're someone who is wanting to see our communications and you don't think you are, we can help you fix that. The best thing you could also do is just resubscribe. Maybe you had previously become inactive and our list suppressed you. You have to resubscribe to get our communications again. But I send our emails to thousands of people, and I still see where some few thousand don't get added when I hit send. And if you're one of those, please help us help you look into it, because we want to make sure that we're reaching you. All right. If you use Fiery Focus, Big Boy, or Queen Annie, you will see that the bottles are slowly changing. What we've essentially done is just put 2 doses in one bottle. So we used to have the half-ounce bottle. Now you are going to buy a 1-ounce bottle. The price doesn't change. You're just paying double because you're getting 2 in one bottle. What will change, though, is if you're someone who used to only buy 1, or you only bought odd numbers, you now got to buy at least the 2 in the one bottle, or you have to buy even numbers. So, but hopefully that won't make much of a difference, because a lot of you using that formula really do need way more than 1. So that just should make it so you buy less bottles and make it easier for you to use the formula in a variety of ways. So you'll see those being released. We recently sold out of Super Big Boy and chose not to continue it. Aston is doing some masterminding in the background for new formulas coming out in the future. So in the meantime, Big Boy is super effective for most people and is really the favorite. And so we're continuing with Big Boy in the 1 ounce bottle, but Super Big Boy has been officially discontinued. And Bee Pollen 9 is still 30% off because I'm trying to sell out. We made a lot of it. So I really need to sell it all out so I can move over to the new bottle that I want to put it in. There's no change. It's just that I want to put it in a different bottle. So I'd love to sell out our current stock, and it's 30% off until we do that. So we are in allergy season. If you're someone who doesn't get allergies until the fall, now is a great time to start building up your system's resistance so you actually avoid symptoms in the fall. The Bee Pollen 9 is more potent and is really decently priced since it's 30% off. So start stocking up on that now if you can, and it's a win-win. Any other announcements, Aston, by you before we end our session?
I think that is good for now. We have more coming up, hopefully next week, that I can think of. So stay tuned, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend, and be safe.
Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.